Hello, everyone. My name is Aman Mazar. I'm the Chief Product Officer at Modulum. At Modulum, we're delivering transformative optical imaging and decision support solutions that help people live healthier, longer lives. Sorry, there you go. And we're focused on the lives of patients that are managing their diabetes, kidney, and cardiovascular health. Specifically, 43 million patients that are at risk of getting lower limb complications. These complications start with peripheral vascular disease and diabetic foot ulcers and end up in an amputation. Our solution is the Clarify imaging system, which helps clinicians assess, manage, and preserve limbs for at-risk patients. Is there a way to go back? One more. The Clarify imaging system has FDA clearance and a CE mark. It's a proprietary technology that also outputs microvascular maps, as you see on the left-hand side. We also have our own reimbursement code and have recently published in vascular and diabetes journals. These milestones led to a strategic round of financing in 2021 to enter the market to manage high-risk kidney and diabetes patients. We're now out raising capital to support commercial scaling and our solution roadmap. This problem is real because current limb care is highly reactive. Care occurs after complications are visible, and it's highly fragmented. I can see this when I'm with my parents as they go see multiple specialists. The current standard is a foot check because none of the current non-invasive testing methods actually have good sensitivity. In fact, in diabetes patients, PAD assessment has a sensitivity lower than 50%, which means 50% of patients are undiagnosed. This leads to $80 billion in reactive spending. The unmet need is clear. Limb assessment at the point of care, especially in terms of evaluation of circulation. These vascular insights can help clinicians manage the right patients at the right time. And that's where our solution comes in. The Clarify imaging system is a point-of-care microvascular imaging tool to help clinicians practice proactive limb management. It can be done at the point of care with a snapshot of light, and it generates these 2D color-coded maps of hemoglobin oxygenation and distribution. And the solution is comprehensive. We use visible and near-infrared light to see 10 times deeper than you can with your eye, structured light to actually map that over a wide area using a technique called spatial frequency domain imaging. That's what we've patented and licensed from the University of California in Irvine, and computational modeling to actually quantify the hemoglobin distribution and oxygenation. We put that all together, and we use that in a predictive decision support manner to actually guide the patient journey so you can get the right care at the right time. And here are some of the key clinical insights we can get into limb health. This is from a publication in 2020, where if you look at the visual inspection, there's no actual insult to the foot. If you overlay that with one of our biomarker maps, you see a dark blue area underneath that second toe. That's decreased perfusion in that area. This was an observational study. After 13 weeks, there was an ulcer that formed in that same area due to the repeated trauma in that area. This ulcer didn't heal for 33 weeks, and when we showed this to our podiatrist colleagues, they basically said that they could have prevented this with targeted offloading and customized shoes. We've done more than case studies. We've published with the University of Arizona, the University of Southern California, and Kaiser Permanente in diabetes and vascular journals. And most recently, we've also completed a pilot with Fresenius Medical Care looking at the highest risk kidney patients. And the highest risk kidney patients are at incredibly high risk, especially those undergoing dialysis. Over 50% have diabetes, a quarter have peripheral arterial disease, 13% will get an ulcer within a year, and about 20% of those patients who have the most severe peripheral arterial disease, critical limb ischemia, will get an amputation in a given year. That's 500,000 patients at risk, and they're being seen at a very specific point of care, the dialysis clinic. We're partnered with the number 1 and number 6 large dialysis organization to augment what they do today, the current visual foot check, and do vascular assessment at the point of care. And the reason why this is really becoming even more attractive is the shift in the kidney care space. Value-based care is here. In 2022, CMS launched a program where they're doing total cost of care for these high-risk patients, and not only for dialysis patients, but upstream CKD 4 and 5 patients. This has created an ecosystem of nephrology practices, large dialysis organizations, and new practice management groups. And we are now partnered and launched at the largest nephrology practice in California. And we've created our first nephrology limb network, where we do point-of-care imaging at the dialysis center. We upload those images to a HIPAA-compliant cloud. The nephrology reviews those images, and decides what to do in terms of care management. Typically, that's a specialist referral to a vascular podiatry specialist. You see this ecosystem is what really can prevent complications from happening, and on the far right-hand side is a real case. A visual foot check resulted in no complications that were visible. Our assessment showed decreased oxygenation in both limbs. This person was referred to vascular, and when they did a detailed ultrasound workup and an angiogram, they found critical limb ischemia. Remember, that's a 20% chance of getting an amputation, and 80% vessel stenosis. They ended up performing an angioplasty to reinstate blood flow in that leg. Our acquisition model is flexible and is a service model. We place hardware at the clinics at approximately $1,000 a month per site, or we can do a capital option if the practice so chooses. And then we have a recurring software model of $15 a study. This works in both the value-based care setting and the fee-for-service because we have our own reimbursement code that pays at $50.20 a study. This is unique to our technology. And the value proposition from the practices is quite simple. If they can reduce amputations and ulcers by 20%, which is very doable with multidisciplinary care, studies have shown you can actually get a 50% accomplishment, they can save about $80,000 per clinic while having an operating budget of with equipment and staffing at $30,000. That's $50,000 net per clinic. A typical nephrology practice will manage 20 clinics. That's about $1 million in net savings. We validate all of our operational assumptions with our rollout by validating how long it takes to do the assessment, less than 5 minutes, how long it takes to do the review, about 3 to 4 minutes, and how many patients actually are sort of being seen by specialist care. One of the key use of funds of our future financing is to do an outcome study to really track the full decrease in amputations. And our solution roadmap is targeting the larger market. This is a targeted $90 million market of high-risk patients, but the overall limb market is about $1.5 billion. That's 43 million patients being seen at a number of points of care. Our microvascular assessment technology is available at these dialysis clinics, and we've created these limb preservation networks. The outcome studies are being driven to enhance our insight so that we can apply machine learning approaches and improve the predictive utility of the technology. Lastly, we do have a vision of miniaturizing the hardware with the advances in commercial cameras and lighting so that we can actually take this to outpatient and home care use. And that opens up the upstream kidney, diabetes, and peripheral arterial disease market. We have a team that's got a track record of commercial scaling, innovation, and value creation. David and myself are from the founding lab at UC Irvine. We started this company with NIH grants and then transitioned to venture capital. We're really excited that we recruited Charlie Huner to the company, who couldn't be here last year. He has a tremendous track record in scaling companies, both in aesthetics and in telemedicine, and leading them to exits. And our VP of sales is Gary Marston. He's got a lot of med tech experience in small and large companies, and also has a tremendous experience in market access, which is why we were able to get a reimbursement code. Our clinical team is multidisciplinary and represents all the different stakeholders can actually lead to limb preservation. Microvascular assessment can occur anywhere in the body. We believe that core technology has multiple market expansion paths. 99% of your vasculature is the microvasculature. We believe there are opportunities to expand in the surgical space, the OR space, the patient monitoring, and outside the US with the right partner. And lastly, I close with this. We believe the time is now. If you want to be part of our mission to help people live healthier, longer lives, please come have a conversation with us. The American Heart Association put out a call to action for reducing non-traumatic lower extremity amputations by 20% in 2030. This is extremely achievable with the multidisciplinary care and tools like microvascular assessment. And I will also say this, if you do have a loved one who's suffering from diabetes, cardiovascular health, or kidney health, please ask them to have their limb checked. Not only could it save their limb, but it could actually save their life. Thank you.